in a
started
horse
thinking
field.
about the
Let's be real.
ladies and their hats out in the field, and I'm like, I would be the one person that would land right in the pie. Like I would be that person.
So I'll give you a polo fact. On our polo field, you can fit 9 football fields.
Oh, that's big.
It's
That's
300 yards. It's 300 yards by 155 yards. If you find the dung,
They play the whole field.
yeah, those horses are flying by at over 20 miles per hour. You gotta give them space.
Yeah, it's true.
Slow down.
That's
turn
true.
around.
Okay, you're right.
So when you're looking at it from the sideline, it doesn't look. But when you're on the field and you walk out there and look up, you're like, oh wow, it's far, it's big. But yeah, I bring that up to let you know, Alysse, if you step in dung and you have all that space, it is definitely on you.
Yeah, that's definitely on me.
It's on you,
Or maybe
sister.
I should go straight to the casino. Like I don't know. But
There's that part.
welcome to Beats Working, winning the game of events, where we share stories and strategies to turn any event or life moment into something unforgettable.
Events are wild, and the people who work in them are some of the most resilient humans on earth. If you know, you know.
So come with us behind the curtain for a look at their most memorable experiences.
As they say, the show must go on, so let's get on with the show.
Welcome back to yet another episode of Beats Working, winning the game of events. My name is Alysse Bryson, and I'm here today with my trusty sidekick and work wife for life, Libby Sundgren. We're so excited about today's guest, aren't we, Libby?
Oh, the most excited.
The most excited because we've been rolling with this guest for almost 2 decades, right?
It's been a while.
Oh my God, yeah.
Yeah, which
It's
makes,
been
I
a
mean,
while.
we all did start in the business like when we were 10, so that mathematically tracks. But
Child
ladies
prodigies.
and gentlemen, yes, today's guest is Drew Dambreville, Chief Operating Officer of the Seattle Seawolves Rugby Club and co-founder of both the Seattle Polo Party, which is super fun, get your big hats ready, and the Seattle All-Star Classic. Drew specializes in crowd engagement and revenue growth in spectator sports. With a talent for crafting unforgettable event experiences and a key eye for innovation, Drew has turned Seattle into a hub for sports entertainment, bridging the excitement of rugby, polo, and community-driven sporting events everywhere. What's he passionate about? He loves building events that not only thrill fans, but also leave lasting impressions and meaningful impacts on the local community. Yes, I double down on that for sure. Let's dive in and learn from one of Seattle's masters of the spectator sport experiences. Welcome to the show, Drew.
Hey, ladies, first of all, it took y'all long enough. Second
to get
of
a
all,
podcast or to call you? Which one?
both.
Ooh.
It's been a while since I've spoken to both of you at the same time, but congratulations. Love what you guys are doing. Excited for
Thank
what you
you.
guys are doing.
We're the
and
right people in Seattle to do an events podcast, don't you think?
I think so. I definitely.
Didn't you always
will.
call us like the Ryan Seacrest of Seattle?
Of
Does that sound
events?
familiar?
Absolutely,
Mhm.
I did.
Uh-huh.
Literally, I
Uh-huh.
did call you that.
Uh-huh.
Yes, I
Uh-huh.
learned a lot
Yeah.
from you too.
Well, we learned a lot from you because we've been partying for, like I said, 2 decades now.
Wow. Thanks for aging me.
Okay, Drew, we like to start at the beginning of events because, all events have the 3 parts, the beginning, the middle, the end. Well, arguably they have the pre-beginning, which is all the planning, and then the post-ending, which is all the wrapping. But we're just going to start at the beginning right now. So when you're creating a brand new event concept like the Seattle Polo Party, what's your process for developing a compelling vision that's going to resonate with both the participants and the spectators?
Wow. So the vision, I did a lot. So if we're talking about something like the Seattle Polo Party, I did a lot of research. The first year we just completed year 9 of the Polo Party. So it's been
What?
around for 9 years. Yeah.
Wow.
This year will be year 10. And I have to confess, the first polo party I ever attended was one that I put on. I didn't know what to expect. So I was online Googling and speaking to polo friends that actually played and was trying to figure it out. Right. We did have a vision. The vision was, garden best, taking the Kentucky Derby, meshing it with polo, meshing it with, getting Seattleites out of the house to do something that's different, and catering. At that moment in time, I didn't actually know who our demographic was going to be, right? It was year one. It was, let's put out something that's different for Seattle, and then we'll react to, how it goes. So year one, it was like, okay, catered food. We want to do high class, but we don't want to price people out. We want to do, like, we're trying to cater to too many people because it's a one-time event, a once a year annual event, which you treat a lot different than you do a sporting event where it's week after week. So it's like we're trying to figure out who our audience was and what. So year one, we got through it, we did it. And then based on feedback, based on who attended, then we started scripting our audience and tailoring it towards them.
And it happens in August, right?
Yeah, the second weekend in August.
Okay, that's what I thought. I was at year one. I remember being at year one. I remember my outfit, in fact. Mm-hmm.
I have photos.
Yeah, I have photos as well. It was a great event. I don't know that I had been to a polo party before that either.
Mm-hmm. We were new for the Northwest. It was, there was a group that did it in Portland, Polo Noir. Other than that, you had to travel down to, the desert. People don't realize. So Indio, Coachella. So if you've ever been to Coachella, those are polo fields. There's two polo clubs. Yeah, there's two polo clubs across the street from each other. That's where all the grass comes from. That's where all that grass and greenery comes from. It's like the Empire Polo Club and El Dorado Polo Club, and they're across the street from each other. And that's where all that greenery comes. If you pull into Coachella about a month prior to March, and it's polo matches, they all pack up, leave, and then the tractor trailers come in and start setting up stages. And then when they're done,
a stagecoach after Coachella.
Yep. Then stagecoach happens, and then they reside and redo all the grass, and then it takes place. And then next year they come back and do it all over again.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So every year, so you've been doing it for 9 years. This is the 10th year.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, you have a concept, you're not reinventing the wheel every year, but how do you figure out what you're going to do to make it fresh or to add some new elements or, keep people, I mean, clearly people like what they see and like what they experience because they keep coming back. But how does your planning process as an established event, how does that, how do you do your planning for it now?
We listen to your sponsors and your partners. When I'm at the event, the cool thing is, like, I build it and then I get to switch hats and MC it and walk around. So half the people there probably don't realize, like, I'm the guy, Cameron Smith, who's the owner and founder, bought the property and we partnered 9 years ago. We plan this from top to bottom. There's no big committee. It's just us. And we'll look at what we did last year, and it was like, hey, how do we maximize the real estate we have? And then we added, I want to say 4 years ago, we added luxury boxes. So we have boxes that hold up to 20 guests, and then corporate companies that wanted to entertain started purchasing them. And we're like, oh, wow, okay, this works. So every year It's like looking at what we do, how can we improve upon it? The food experience, the beverage and experience, seating, even the little things. It's like, how we do the entrance, right? The halftime we have two polo matches, an early match and then the main match. And at the main match is when everyone takes to the field for the divot stomp and the hat parade. And we'll have over 600 women out there, just the women alone out there. Hats.
That's bananas.
Oh, it's amazing. Our halftime takes almost an hour to get everyone on and off the field. That's why everyone shows up. It's for that. Like, I have people have come to that event for 5 or 6 years and have probably never even watched the polo match. They showed up for the halftime, for the party.
That's phenomenal.
So every year we look at, from a attendees perspective, what can we do better, right? Food, I look at it. One year we've had great partners, from Ascend to SDK Steakhouse. We had a chef this year, but we look at, like, food. There's long lines for food. How can we make that better and change that? Liquor and bar sales. There's lines. I try and eliminate lines. I'm always trying to figure out how to make the experience better so that you do want to come back because you know how people are. If they come and they have a bad experience, you probably lose them.
Yeah.
And they tell
Yeah.
the whole world about it. So
Ugh.
every year we look at it, and while I'm walking around, people are saying like, "Oh, it'd be amazing if you guys da da da." And sometimes I'm like, one, we're in a farm in the middle of Ingham Claw. Some of that stuff isn't going to track. Like, let's just be real. It's not a 5-star, hotel. We're on a farm. So anything you request or want, I have to figure out how to get out there, pay for it, and then make it actually functional. But there's some ideas people throw out, and you go, you know what? That's not all right. Let's do it.
What's your favorite activation or partnership, sponsorship that you've done over the 9 years that was like out of the box, not something that you would expect?
Oh, favorites. We did a 360 photo booth a few years ago when they first hit the market. But the backdrop was our partner at the time was Rolls-Royce. And we had the dealership there has Rolls-Royce, McLaren, Lamborghini, and Bentley. So imagine your 360 booth and around is luxury cars. So you're standing in the middle.
That's fun.
And the backdrop
That's
is
really
luxury cars. The line for that was insane because it's just a once in a lifetime. You don't get to do that often.
That's really fun. That's really fun. And of course you had them when they were first out and popular. Of course you did. Yeah, of course you did. Of course.
Stop it.
Cutting edge events, cutting edge event activations. I think listening, that is such good advice. And it is so hard for me as somebody who couldn't sell campfire candy without crying. I know I tell this story like every week probably, but
Every week.
this is just who I am, a little sensitive. Sometimes it's scary to listen to that feedback or to actively look for the feedback because something always goes wrong, there's always going to be something that somebody's annoyed with or bummed about. And it's just, it's just going to happen. So by listening, I mean, yes, you are inviting the complainers, but you're also inviting a lot of really good ideas. And I just think that you are particularly so good at that, at taking feedback from people and really not taking anything personal and just
No, I take it personal. I do take it personal. I'm not gonna lie.
Show it. You're so good.
I've learned to live life by that. It's like the 80-20 rule. The 80-20 rule. 20% of people will find something to complain about all the time. They will, no matter what. This was cold, or this was that, or I would have did this different. I can't be concerned with that. You still listen to a degree because there might be a gem in there that you can pick from it in between all the complaining. But it's the other. Like if I do an event and 80, 85%, even 90% of people are having a great time, I did my job, right? That other 10%, if I put all my attention into them, then I'm distracted by taking care of the masses, right?
Yeah.
Who knows? They could have came to the event upset or angry or ready to complain. I'm not going to change your mind. If you didn't want to be there and someone dragged you there, I'm not going to change your mind. And it's not my job to change your mind. My job is to make sure that from when you park your car to when you get back to your car, that you had a fun and engaging time. That's my job.
Yeah, it's true. And, a lot of times people just want someone to listen to them. They just want you to be like, oh, that must have been really frustrating. I hope you'll come back next year. And then
has there ever been like any accidents that happened with anybody, stepping in anything that the horses might have left behind?
Probably. I don't hear about it. That's on you. That's like,
well, I started peeled if you're out walking.
I started thinking about the ladies and their hats out in the field, and I'm like, I would be the one person that would land right in the pie. Like I would be that person.
So I'll give you a polo fact. On our polo field, you can fit 9 football fields.
Well, that's big.
It's 300 yards. It's 300 yards by 155 yards. If you find the dung,
they play the whole field.
Yeah, those horses are flying by at over 20 miles per hour. You got to give them space.
Yeah, that's true.
Slow down.
That's true.
Around.
Okay, you're right.
So when you're looking at it from the sideline, it doesn't look, but when you're on the field and you walk out there and look up, you're like, oh, wow, it's far. It's big. But yeah, I bring that up to let you know, Alysse, if you step in dung and you have all that space, it is definitely on you.
Yeah, that's definitely on me.
It's on you,
Or maybe
sister.
I should go straight to the casino. Like, I don't know. But
There's that part.
Okay, so Drew, you are a crowd engagement expert. I will say that every event we ever worked with you on, whether it was your own event or our event and you were one of our partners, you're so good at working the crowd and making sure people are like having a good time and keeping them engaged and, like we said, coming up with new activations and new things for people to do. But can you share some specific tactics or examples of things that you've done either during the Seattle All-Star Classic, which is at Cheney Stadium, or the Seattle Seawolves Rugby games to enhance the fan experience? And those are different, as you said earlier when we were doing a little prep convo, because one of those is a one time a year and the other one is a whole season. So what are some like strategies that you have for both of those?
It's knowing your audience, right? So when you're doing a one time a year event and you're bringing a lot of celebrities out, right? We know your audience, they want access, right? They don't want barriers. They want to be able to come out, get autographs, especially kids autographs. So we look at, as Alysse said, I look at an event as your pregame, or more or less even the fan experience to a pregame to in-game to post-game, right? If you break it into 4 sectors. So a sporting event, for instance. So your fan fest, like what kind of games or interactive opportunities do you have? At Cheney Stadium, the ballpark there is amazing. They have a kid-sized wiffle ball park attached to the main park. So and a full jungle gym. We do autograph sessions, giveaways, things, all of the concourse, before the event, all the celebs come out and we have a backdrop where they do like a meet and greet. Started off for sponsors and everybody started coming and we just let people watch and take photos. So you have access to the Geno Smiths and DK Metcalfs. Typically those guys, if you're in Lumen Field, they're like 200 feet away from you, right? You got to, drop to the field, go over. These guys are right in front of you and they're signing autographs and they're taking photos and having fun. So it's about access, right? It's about creating that access. And when we go to rugby, what we've done is rugby's a very niche sport. It's growing in the US, huge internationally. But what I came into is a situation where the rugby fans were rugby enthusiasts, right? It's like you came, you watch rugby, you're passionate about rugby. And I'm like, all right, how do I make this more into sports and entertainment? So we reimagined our fan fest area. Again, leading into, if you get to a game early, what kind of gaming situations. We do pre-autographs with players that are not playing that game, come out and do some autographs. We'll do t-shirt giveaways and everything that we call the big boys do. And I refer to like the Seahawks, the Mariners, the Kraken as the big boys. They're the guys with the major budgets and they do a lot of things very well, right? So you don't have to reinvent the wheel. You can look at what they're doing, scale it to your size, and then be very purposeful with it.
Yeah, and I think that's so much of, if you're in the event industry, like that's the game, is to be paying attention to all the events that you go to that are not yours, because everything is scalable when it comes to events, whether it's a house party of you and your 50 friends or a much larger party of 10 to 15,000 people. Like it all scales. It all scales usually.
And it's all events to me is how you make people feel, right? That's our job. Our job is how do you make people feel, right? Essentially, you're going to a stadium and there's a person playing music and there's a sporting event taking place, whatever that sporting event. The people who win know how to make people feel a certain way, right? And create those experiences so that families have memories and they want to come back, or fans. So it's that, to me, that's what the fan engagement and crowd engagement's about. It's like knowing your audience and what's important to them. What I found is access. We live in a world where social media is giving us access that way, but how often do you get to actually get autographs or meet or shake hands with and get FaceTime with celebrities? There's always barriers in a way. So it was like, how can we eliminate some of those? Still keeping a safe environment, but give, if I'm we brought in last year, Garrett Wilson. Garrett Wilson was the NFL Rookie of the Year in 2022. Came out of Ohio State, plays for the New York Jets, right? Played in the games. If you're a football fan, you know who he is. How often are you going to get to come over and hang out with him? We've had some of the Seattle greats, Cam Chancellor, Lofa Tatupu, Marcus Trufant, and those guys, you know their name, you see them, but these guys come out, one of the cool things we've done with the softball game is we let kids on the field at the end of the game. So at the end of the game, we put how fans can be. We make sure the parents are like, no, you can stay right here. But if the kids want, if the kids want to come out, and we'll give them softballs, and they can run around and get autographs from all the guys and run around the bases and have fun. And it's that controlled environment. But how cool is that for a 10-year-old kid to go out and get autographs from 8
so
or 9
rad.
people? So that's how
my
we get
gosh.
people to come back and create those experiences for people.
So, I mean, you see the smiles on the kids' faces, and I mean, you get the feedback, but what is your best or favorite metric for gauging success in an event?
Revenue.
Show me the money.
At the end of the day, you got to sell units.
Money.
So, I mean, right? Because even in my role now, we have partners, we have paid partners, we have ticket sales, we have retail sales. It's all about revenue, right? More excited bodies in a building hopefully leads to more purchases in our team shop, more food and beverage purchases and things along that line. So,
well, and it goes back to, if you're making sure that they have a great experience all the way through, then your retention rate year over year or week after week, regardless of which one it is, it should be good. Do you think that we did have that little thing that happened for a few years, the pandemic, when then we went from all these events to no events to then this slow drip of events coming back online? Do you think that we are all the way back, or do you think that we're still building?
We're back, but what I've seen and what I've heard is people purchase differently now as a result of that. Whereas pre-pandemic, most teams around the league will tell you they probably sold a lot more in season tickets. People just purchased out all the way and like, hey, I'm just going to do this and do that. Post-pandemic, people are last minute to games. It's like, hey, I'll decide to go week of. You probably see with RSVPs, with events as well. People aren't planning as far out as they used to. So that's one of the challenges that I've seen. But in terms of us being back, yeah, we were back a while ago. People were so itching to get out. We did not, in 2020, we obviously canceled and did not do polo. 2021, everything opened around, I want to say March or April-ish or so. And I had a conversation with Cameron, like, hey, do you want to do it this summer? He's like, you know what? Let's just see, let's do it. We tried to scale back. We wound up doing the largest number we ever did. We actually did about.
Really?
Yeah.
That's really interesting.
Were ready. Yeah, people were ready.
Well, it's also, I mean, I do think
it's an outdoor event.
Events, the outdoor events had an advantage on of all the events in the events world, for sure.
But it just reconfirmed that, like, yeah, people are ready to do stuff. Yeah, you want to be smart about it and social distance or whatever we were doing back then. But in terms of us being back, we're back.
I think that something that you and Libby have in common that you both do really well that is not a strong suit for me is when things go wrong at events, you're both very calm, cool, and collected. Libby is very much like she always says this. She's like a duck, just looks like she's just calmly soothing across the pond, but really her little, her little web feet are going like crazy in the background. I know that you look calm on the outside, but like that takes a toll. I know it takes a toll. So like, what tips do you have to the people listening that might be new to the industry on keeping that cool demeanor no matter what curveballs get thrown your way?
One, have an outlet. So for me, I know my significant other knows we have a term, event hangover. So the day after a large event, everyone knows to just leave me be. At least the first half of the day, just leave me be, because the physical event being over does not mean the event is over. We all know that as event professionals. There's still bills that need to be paid, reconciliations. There's probably emails from someone who's that 20% that's pissed off that you got to respond to, or I've had people forget things. You got to meet up with them because I lost my kid. The funniest, someone lost their car keys at the polo field and I found them.
Oh, wow.
And so the email
In
to have
all
the
that
meetup,
space, were they
yeah.
next to the horse leftovers?
Nah, they were in
No?
the VIP. They were bougie about it.
Of course they were. Yeah.
But that turned into a great experience because I was able to get that person, meet up with them, get them back their keys, verify it was their car, get back their keys, and make everything great for them. But decompressing after an event, working out, but I think alone time. I just need my brain to catch up to all my activities and what I have going on. So my answer to most people is like, if you have a huge event, especially when you're dealing with thousands of people or even hundreds of people, that next day, find some me time just to disappear, however you choose to fill it. I like to go to the gym. Some people like to do paperwork or what, but just find alone time.
Yeah, this isn't the first time or that this has come up in the episodes we've recorded, and we're not that many episodes into this season yet, but there is this underlying theme of people really like, do not forget to plan to take care of yourself for that day after, for the event hangover. I personally am someone that if an event goes really well, I cry. If an event goes really bad, I cry. Like, I'm going to cry no matter what. But it's like, it's a really cleansing cry. And at first I used to be upset and scared by it, but then I was like, oh no, this happens every time. Just lean into it and let it rip, But yes, kind of like giving yourself that like whatever amount of time that you can. And sometimes, like, depending on how many events you've got going, you might be on to the next, like pretty immediately, but just giving yourself that grace and that time is really, really cannot be spoken about enough. And I think it was in the episode with Katie Mack where she actually said, if you don't do that, you're actually stealing from your next event.
Oh, you'll burn yourself out.
Yeah, you will. You just will totally burn yourself out. And so you both keep a calm demeanor much better than I do.
That's why you kept us around. We were the calm for you.
That's exactly right. Teamwork makes the dream work. Do you have, I know that all your events are your favorite and your babies, but are there any standout moments in your event career? You've had a long run in the event world. Do you have any standout moments where you're like, oh, that was an awesome, like, I really feel good about this one. Like, it was kind of like a bucket list thing that you've done.
I mean, being part of the group that did the Richard Sherman celebrity softball game, big bucket. We had Kobe Bryant playing that game, Kevin Durant playing that game. I mean, it helps when those guys win a Super Bowl.
Yeah, it's helpful.
Fresh off a Super Bowl, you get a lot of more celebs out. But that was, at that moment in time, probably one of the largest events I've done. Since then, polo, like I can pick a couple. Polo in 2019, the year before COVID, 18 or 19. I'm of Haitian descent. My parents both came here from Haiti. So we had the opportunity to bring the Haitian national polo team out here to play the Seattle Polo Club.
Oh,
so
wow.
That was a cool thing for me, where that was like a moment where I had a little tear because it was like a proud thing. Like, like to have the American flag and the Haitian flag come out, behind the Rolls Royces. And to me, that was a moment. And then I don't know, I treat each one as, rugby, for instance. It's my first season with the rugby club. We've done a lot of upgrades, a lot of cool, new, innovative stuff to try and drive revenue and enhance the fan experience and attract new fans. So I'm excited to see where that goes and how that pans out. But I'm one of those people that suffers from, I never really take the time to just be like, yeah, I did that. It's always, all right, cool, on to the next one. And my friends are telling me, like, you should celebrate it and all that. I'm like, I'm too busy, man. Like,
ain't nobody got time for that.
Exactly. Yeah. It's like, well, what are we celebrating? Because to me, it's the way I was raised, ex-athlete in me is like, I prepared myself and planned for it to do that. So why should I act surprised that it was that?
Sure. Yeah.
Does that make sense?
It totally makes sense.
So if you planned an event and you executed on what you planned, like, what do you like? I feel like you shouldn't be surprised that it did well. You should just be like, all right, it did well. Take your notes, figure out what went wrong to make it better next time, and keep it pushing.
Do you feel like you go to less or more events outside of the ones that
Less.
you participate, right? It's hard because when you're in the events world, you end up with a lot of access, right? You have a lot of connections. Everybody always has like, oh, I got an extra pair of tickets to this or to this. And early in, I think I was like, gobble, gobble, give me all, right? But as I got, a decade in, I was like, I just want to be at home on my couch sometimes because I'm just like, I'm
anti-people. It's to me, so I'm the most introverted extrovert you'll ever meet. If you see me out, it's like, oh, Drew's out and about, and Drew's always out. And I'm all like, you have no idea. Like, I go home and turn the ringer off and disappear from people. But I do events different. If I go to an event with you, most people are watching the crowd. I will disappear and walk off. I want to see what the DJ's doing or what equipment the sound guys are. I'm that guy. I start walking
You
around.
are that guy. You've been my +1 a lot of times over the years,
and
you do disappear. That is true. I'm like, where did he go? He was just right here.
I'm curious. Like, I go to a gala and everyone's like, oh, looking at the drapes. And I'm walking around trying to get a peek around. Oh, that's how you guys did that. Okay. Noted. Or what company are you guys? Let me grab one of your cards in case so that's how I do events anyway. I'm kind of boring to go to events with.
I would disagree. As someone, you were my +1 bunches of times, like more times than I can count.
Ooh.
And
wait, going back, one of my favorite events, I didn't do the event, but one of the favorite events I ever went to, I went to with you when we went to the Chihuly Museum.
Oh, the glass blowing studio?
Yeah.
On South Lake Union. Oh, that was super fun. We had a lot of fun. I have a picture of you in Dale Chihuly's bathtub, if I remember correctly.
I have it. Yep. At Chihuly. Yep. I got it. Yep.
That
was
stunning.
a very fun night. That was that is a fun place to have a party for sure.
I was just trying to figure out still how they got that table in there. There was like the one wooden table.
One tree, one very long tree.
One long tree that's like 100 feet long. I mean, you're like trying to figure out how they got it in there.
You two are kind of the same at events, though. You're kind of the same type of a guest because you're both connectors. You're both very good at meeting people and introducing people and like connecting the web when you're in the room to figure out, well, how you know someone 6 degrees away.
There's two types of people who were born with access and people who know how to develop. And I think Alysse and I both come from the second part where you understand your network is your net worth, right? So I've learned that when you navigate certain rooms and shake hands and kiss babies, and if you move in a meaningful way, that you'll attract the right people. And that's been my business model. Can I tell you, over 20 years of doing H206 events and consulting and all that, I've never once had a website. I've done events.
You don't have a website?
No, I've never had. I bought the URL. I own the URL. I just never put up a website because either you know me or you don't. Yeah, and I was okay with that.
That's true. I'm like scratching my head, going, "He's not wrong. That's true." Yeah. Well, and it's like you and I both love the thrill of the hunt, the hustle, but it's also about you and I both, I think, are good at no one's ever going to remember what we say, but they are always going to remember how we make them feel.
1,000%.
Well, we haven't talked about, as we start to wind this amazing conversation down, let's talk about how you close event. You talked about the hangover and the day after, but are there other things that you do around the metrics or things that you do so you make sure you're set up for the next event, whether it's a couple weeks away or a year away? Like what else do you do in the capturing and winding down of an event besides resting yourself?
I'm an Excel sheet guy. Like if I don't script it out, I'll forget about it. So for instance, with sporting events, we have vendors, from food trucks to photographers to you name it. If we have halftime shows or what, I make sure that, for instance, we had an event on Friday night. It was a interactive practice where we, a couple of players were mic'd up, fans came to come out and got autographs, but got to watch them practice live and see what it's actually like for those guys when they're running through all their drills and doing stuff in live speed and all. And I wake up, get in the office today, I got to pay people. I've got game day staff all our operators that help us set up all the games and all that. We have vendors, and I got bills to pay. So like first half of my day is paying. So post event, depending on event, is typically reconciling invoices or emailing people like, get that invoice over to me. And then again, we're 2 weeks out from our home opener. So while I'm doing that, we're, planning on, okay, where are we sitting on ticket sales? What do we need to do to move the needle? What's our marketing look like in terms of social media posts and what we're pushing? I got a bunch of new merchandise in, so we got to put together a plan so there's always moving parts, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we get done with an event and we're already 30-40% into the next event.
Mm-hmm. So you're good in the sheets. That's what you said. You're good in the sheets.
I mean,
I actually just saw that Excel joke on the internet the other day, and I was like, how have I never seen this before?
Yeah, I've never heard that either.
Good in the sheets.
Good in the sheets. Good in the sheets. They were sheets, and it was like a
That
whole bed
eye roll,
comforter. I know, she's totally rolling her eyes. There was a whole comfortable comforter bedroom setup that was all Excel branded, and I was like, and it was all good in the sheets, and I was like, that's clever. I'm going to use that.
Wow.
But apparently I shouldn't, because it didn't really land. So anyway,
I got you. I picked up what you were saying.
Good.
thank you.
It was
Thank
good.
you, Drew.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, this is Libby snacks on set, and I make bad mom jokes. So there we go. That's
Okay,
Love
before we end, I do want to skip to a very fun segment we have called Winning the Game of Events. I want you to tell me, okay, so events inevitably have moments of chaos behind the scenes. Alysse and I have shared them on the show. I could just spend every show talking about them because there's always something. But can you share a memorable, the show must go on moment from any event in your history of events? Any of them. Just like your favorite one or your best one, or
The show must go
like
on.
something happens and you're like, well,
Something always
we don't have
happens.
forks. We just got to tell people we're eating with our fingers tonight.
So a few years back, I'll go with Polo. Cameron, I bring his name up. He's a good friend. We start setup like events on Saturday. We start full setup on like Thursday, right? We have all these tents that have to go up and do stuff. I get a call from him on Thursday night. I leave the property and head home, and he stayed out there and was with the team and still doing extra stuff. And I get a call from him, and he's like, I'm headed to ER. I'm like, what happened? He had a kidney stone. This guy passed a kidney stone.
Oh, those hurt really bad.
24 hours.
I've had them.
Yeah.
really
and
bad.
they are
Not fun.
painful.
So passed the
Bad.
kidney stone, and then still made it back out to where he played. Then 2 days or a day later.
Oh, that's commitment.
But that was because, again, like he was leading the team that was getting tense up and all that because he stays on property. And I was just like, are we canceling? What are we doing? Are you going to be okay? Like, he's like, no, I got this. And I'm just like,
oh my gosh, what a trooper.
Yeah. I've had a year where volunteers would partner with nonprofits, and the profit partnership is essentially we will give you a percentage of liquor sales and then make a donation rather than go pay for labor to do this. So you bring me volunteers on Friday to set up tables and chairs and whatever. You bring me volunteers on Sunday to whatever. And then on the day of, I need like at least 8-10 bodies, do registration and little things. It's like light lifting stuff. Morning of, they no-showed.
Oof.
So I called friends, and I got a group of friends to come out last minute.
Oh
They
my
no-showed.
gosh. That would throw me into a straight like stress sweat panic. I would have smelled
You
so
look
bad
like you're
that
stressed
day.
right now. Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, you're already outside and it's like 100 degrees. What are you going to do?
We're already sweating. It's okay.
We're already sweating. Yeah. I mean, things happen. You figure, you adapt and
A
overcome.
kidney stone and no volunteers the morning of.
Yeah, that's pretty good. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
I'll take a self-serving moment. What is your favorite event that you've done with myself and Libby?
Ooh.
I know there's so many.
There's
So
so
many.
There actually is a lot.
I know.
There's so many. Oh, man. Okay. The 10-year with the plane
That one was pretty fun.
The
We had a 10-year anniversary for a magazine that we worked at, and it was in the Delta airplane hangar, and there were, I don't know, like 2,000 people there-ish, maybe.
yeah, it was
It's kind of bananas. You really couldn't yell across the hangar to somebody. You had to walkie-talkie, phone call, run. I've never gotten so many steps. I think I got like 30,000 steps in a day. Never got close to that again.
The events we did at the Computer Science Center,
Generosity.
Generosity.
Those were really
those
fun.
Were awesome.
Generosity was good.
Yeah, I'm trying to. There's been so many. I mean, that's a lot of.
Those are some hits, though.
Those are like the big hits that I can think of where it's like, oh yeah.
Remember that one time we got you on the cover of a magazine?
Oh yeah.
I do. Calling me to go camping.
To go camping. Yeah, and then all your friends totally made fun of you. That was awesome.
Oh gee. They were like, yo, black butt don't camp, Drew. What the heck you talk about?
Camping.
I posted that. If you go back and read the comments from that post, we're talking like it almost went viral. Like the post on there, like, hey, no way in heck they got you to go camping.
Nobody was buying it.
Oh,
nobody that knew you was buying it.
He was a model.
Lots of people bought the issue, to be clear. Lots of people bought the issue. None of your friends were buying it.
I think it was one of our best selling covers, actually. People really loved that one.
It was a good one.
It was you, Drew. It was you. Mm-hmm.
Yes. I could have been the scout.
Could have been.
The Jeep that you put, the Jeep that was out there with me was pretty nice.
Yeah.
So where can our many, 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 many listeners find you if they want to find you?
I mean, at a Seawolves game.
Okay. So just go to a
Seawolves.rugby,
Seawolves.
Seawolves.rugby, or SeattleAllStarClassic.com. That event will happen July 12th this year.
And what about the Polo Party, the big 10-year?
That's a second Saturday in August. I forget what.
And is there anything you can share with us that is going to be special about the 10-year?
Nope. I don't. You got to show up. I'm one of those. You got to show up. You got to show up.
Makes us work for it.
Well, if your volunteers don't show up that day, you can call us. We'll come.
Yeah, you can call us. We'll come.
You're next door.
We can yodel and you'll hear us yodeling. Exactly.
Ah, dear. All right. Well, that is a wrap for this episode of Beats Working. If you've got an idea, you want to reach out, email us at info@beatsworking.show. And remember, every detail matters, every moment counts, and no matter what, the show must go on.
Thanks for listening to Beats Working, Winning the Game of Events, where we explore what it takes to make moments unforgettable.
If you're leaving with a little more inspiration, a little more perspective, and a big side ache from all of the laughing at our funny jokes, then we've done our job.
Beats Working is a Work P2P production. If you've enjoyed this episode, please don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review us on your favorite podcast platforms.
Your support helps us keep the magic going.